You already know what it feels like. The moment the final whistle blows, the colors erupt. Strangers are hugging each other. And for a few seconds, you are not just a person in a stadium. You are something older, something tribal, something that existed long before football was ever invented. That feeling is not an accident. It was never designed by a sport. It was designed by evolution. And it goes back further than you think. Your brain is not a modern machine. It is an ancient one running modern software. Beneath every rational thought you have ever had, beneath every conscious choice, there is a structure built millions of years ago for a world that no longer exists. A world where the group you belong to was the difference between life and death. A world where knowing who was with you and who was against you was not a preference. It was survival. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar spent decades studying the architecture of human social groups. His research revealed something extraordinary. The human brain evolved to track, manage, and maintain relationships with approximately 150 people at a time. No more, no less. This is now known as Dunbar's number, and it maps almost perfectly onto the kind of tight-knit bands our ancestors lived in for hundreds of thousands of years. Small enough to trust, small enough to fight for, small enough to die for. Now ask yourself something. When your team scores, you feel it in your chest. You feel it before you even process the thought. Why? Because your brain does not distinguish between the tribe winning and you winning. It never learned to. That distinction was never useful when survival itself depended on collective victory. When your ancestors drove away a rival group, everyone ate. When they failed, everyone starved. The brain that survived was the one that fused the self with the group so completely that their triumph became your triumph. Their defeat became yours. Football did not create that feeling. It hijacked it. Psychologist Henri Tajfel discovered something unsettling in the 1970s. You do not need a history with a group to feel fiercely loyal to it. You do not need shared experiences, shared suffering, or shared victories. You simply need to be assigned to it. Tajfel called this social identity theory. In one of the most replicated findings in psychology, he showed that people divided arbitrarily into groups would consistently favor their own group over the other, even when it cost them personally. Even when they had never met anyone in their group. Even when the assignment was completely random. Your brain was built to pick a side. The moment it picks one, that side becomes you. This is why a child can put on a football kit for the first time and feel something ancient stir inside them. They have not earned the loyalty. They have not witnessed a single match. But the brain does not require evidence. It requires belonging. And once belonging is established, the tribal machinery activates automatically. Think about what happens in your body when your team concedes a goal. Cortisol rises, the same stress hormone that floods your system when you are physically threatened. Your hands tighten. Your jaw clenches. Your attention narrows to a single point. This is not drama. This is not overreaction. This is a threat response calibrated by millions of years of group competition playing out inside a stadium. Neuroscientist Michael Graziano has written extensively about how the brain models the world through prediction and threat detection. Your nervous system does not wait for you to consciously decide that something matters. It evaluates everything through the lens of threat and reward before conscious thought ever arrives. When the opposition advances toward goal, your brain has already registered it as a threat. Not metaphorically, neurologically. This is why football fans describe watching the game as exhausting. Because it is. You are not watching. You are participating in a survival simulation your brain runs in real time, drawing on systems designed for ancestral conflict, funneled through 90 minutes of competitive sport. Now consider the colors. Red, blue, gold, black, white. Every major football club wraps itself in a palette that feels almost sacred to its supporters. Outsiders cannot always understand why. Why would a color make someone cry? Why would changing a club's crest spark outrage that outlasts the careers of every player alive? Because the visual markers of the tribe were never trivial. In the ancestral environment, colors, patterns, and markings told you everything instantly. Friend or enemy, safe or dangerous, in or out. The cognitive system that tracked those markers did not evolve to be rational about them. It evolved to be automatic, fast, absolute. When you see your club's colors on a stranger across a foreign city, something in you relaxes. A recognition fires. A judgment is made. This person is probably safe. This person is probably trustworthy. You have never met them. You know nothing about them. But the ancient circuitry does not wait for evidence. It has already decided. Evolutionary psychologist Robert Trivers spent decades studying the mechanics of cooperation and competition in social animals. One of his core insights was that reciprocal altruism, the willingness to help someone at personal cost because you expect a benefit long-term, is most powerful within defined in-groups. Your brain is wired to extend extraordinary generosity to those who wear the same colors, share the same chants, and tell the same stories, and to extend extraordinary suspicion to those who do not. Football did not invent the in-group and the out-group. It inherited them. It gave them a stage, a schedule, and a scoreline. But there is something else happening that goes deeper than loyalty. Something that connects football not just to tribalism, but to ritual, to ceremony, to the oldest human instinct of all. Consider what a football match actually is. Two groups gather at an appointed time. They enter a defined sacred space. There are rules. There are roles. There is a beginning and an end. There are witnesses. There are outcomes that matter enormously. And when it is over, the community does not disperse and forget. It carries the result forward. It shapes the story. It becomes part of shared memory. Anthropologist Victor Turner spent his career studying ritual across human cultures. He described ritual not as superstition or primitive behavior, but as structured collective experience that transforms participants and reinforces group identity. Every element he identified in traditional ritual ceremonies, sacred space, defined roles, communal witnessing, transformation, and shared memory, is present in a football match. Your brain did not build this consciously. No one sat down and designed football as a substitute for tribal ceremony. But your ancestors needed these structures. They needed regular collective experiences that reminded each member of the group who they were, who they belonged to, and what they were willing to fight for. Football arrived, looked exactly like those structures, and your brain adopted it instantly. This is why the loss of a beloved club can feel like grief. Not drama, not irrationality, grief. Because from the perspective of the ancient neural architecture running silently beneath your thoughts, the tribe has been wounded. And the tribe is not separate from you. The tribe is you. This is also why football generates violence in ways that other entertainment almost never does. Not because football fans are uniquely dangerous, but because football activates the intergroup conflict systems of the brain with a completeness that almost nothing else in modern life can match. The ancient brain does not register the rivalry as symbolic. It registers it as real. And sometimes the ancient brain overrules the modern one. Understanding this does not excuse it, but it explains something important. The violence around football is not a corruption of what football is. It is, in some dark way, a shadow of what football has always been tapping into. You watch a match. Your team wins. Strangers embrace you. The noise is overwhelming. The joy is real. And somewhere beneath all of it, in the oldest, quietest part of you, a signal fires that has no name in any language, but that your ancestors would have understood immediately. We survived another one. That feeling in your chest when the final whistle blows. The one you felt the very first time. The one that still arrives, sometimes even before you realize the game is over. It was not given to you by football. It was given to you by every generation that came before. By every group that held together against every threat that tried to break it apart. By every ancient human who discovered that belonging to something was the only way to survive anything. Football did not make you tribal. It simply reminded you that you always were.